Lindsay and this is Marengo, and today we're going to talk about a beginning Liberty exercise called Follow Me. If you've ever wondered how to start your horse on Liberty training but you're not sure where to start, this is an exercise you can do on day one. In fact, it's one that I recommend with any horse that's brand new to Liberty. And what we're going to do in this exercise is we're going to start on a lead rope. And I've seen a lot of people kind of playing around with Liberty, and what they'll do is they'll go in like a round pen or a arena, and the first thing they do is they take their horse off the line and they start trying to move their body around. And I'm not saying that's like a horrible thing to do. If you've already done that with your horse, don't feel bad at all. I think that's even okay for like getting to know your horse and just building the trusting relationship. That's fine. But I don't think you can really expect to accomplish very much until you've taught your horse what's expected of them when you are moving their body around at Liberty. And that's why I do a lot of work on the lead rope. Even with this horse, he's been at Liberty a couple of years now. I still do a lot of work on the lead rope. For example, if it's winter and we're all sharing the indoor arena and there's a class going on, I can still work his Liberty skills, but I can have him on a lead rope in case he gets too close to another horse in the small space or something like that. And also, just in a regular Liberty session when we're all alone, I'll sometimes put him back on the lead rope just to make things more precise. Because what we're going to be talking about here is making all of your cues, your left, right, your forward, back, whoa, as precise, as perfect as you can get them on the line. Because what happens when you take your horse off the line is almost always things are going to get a little bit worse. And that's fine if your horse is so precise right there with you on the line and you take them off and there may be a half step over. That's still fine. That's still going to be an okay in a performance. You're still going to have a connection with them. But if you work that way all the time and a half step turns into a full step and it turns into 2 steps and 3 steps and all of a sudden your horse is leaving, that's not good. So yeah, we do a lot of work on the line just to reinforce our basics and make sure that's still there and to set that high standard for where we want the movements to be. Okay, so if I have a horse that's brand new at Liberty, I'm going to start just having them on kind of a loose lead rope. If it's a new horse, loose might mean that loose. If it's a dance horse, loose might mean this much slack in your rope. It's just going to depend on where you're at and how your horse's basic groundwork is. So I'm going to start walking this horse around, and I'm going to have my body and my whips how I want them to be in the finished product when the horse is completely off the line. So I'm going to ask this horse to walk on. I'm going to get back here where you can hopefully see me. And I'm just going to start walking, and all the way, already he's kind of wandering. So I'm going to try to get him where he's in time with me. We're matching steps, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if he starts to go off, first I'm going to use what I want my draw cue to be, which is moving my body and possibly a vocal cue. And if he doesn't listen, then I'm going to go to my rope and bring him where I want him. And I'm going to do the same thing when I push him away. So I want my cue to be when I turn my shoulders towards him, he turns his shoulders. And when I turn my shoulders away, he turns his shoulders. Ah. Good. And then the next thing we're going to work on, good boy, is our forward and back. And we're going to do the same thing, basically, same concept. Is I'm going to give my ideal cue, not using a rope, and then if he doesn't listen, I'm going to reinforce with my rope. Hey, good boy. Good. spot for him to be is about even with his throat latch or even with the middle of his neck. And he went past me to where he was about even with, his shoulder was about even with me. So I backed him up there. And you can mix it up, you can do some turns. And you can do some stops. Good boy. And you want to be really picky on this. I understand your horse may not have done as much work at Liberty as this horse, but you're already setting your standards. And when you get that ideal response, then you're going to reward. Good boy. That's where I want him, right there. Good. Yeah, there's a horse over there that could bring whiskey. Good. Good. Again, just being really picky right here. Same thing on the forward cue. Your horse should take a step right when you do. So the first thing, when I want my horse to walk forward from a standstill, especially if we've been standing here talking and he's distracted and stuff like that, I'm going to get his attention. Then I'm going to lean with my shoulders, and that's telling him we're about to go. So by the time I take that step, he should be with me. Good boy. But if he's not, if I take a step and he's not there, I'm just going to come behind with my whip with a little bit of energy. Yeah, good example right there. Uh-huh. Good boy. Good. So your basics are your turn away, your turn towards, your halt, your back up, which again, if your horse doesn't back off your voice or off your whip or off your body, go ahead and reinforce that with your rope. You're going to explain to them what you want them to do when you use your whip and your body and your voice. Eventually, you won't need it, at least most of the time. Again, you can come back to the rope anytime you need to reinforce a cue. Good. So the next step, once your horse is pretty solid, that means you're not having to use your rope much, if at all. You can test this out. I'm going to keep the rope on. I'm just going to tie it around here so that I don't need to touch it, but it's right there if I need to change something. Yeah? And then you do the same thing. Ringo. Good. Good boy. Do you hear me making the sound? That is my attention getting noise. It also means get in your place. You can use whatever you want. Just a little explanation on that since you're probably hearing me and wondering about that one. Yeah, I know. Filming YouTube videos is probably Marengo's least favorite thing because I'm not paying attention to him. He can tell my attention is elsewhere on the camera. So he always gives me a little test when we do these. But that's your stage 2, is wrapping your lead rope around, still having it available, but not touching it unless you need to reinforce. And absolutely touch it when you need to. Don't let your pride get in the way here. You'd rather have your basics as perfect as you can be so that when you go to build on these skills, they're there for you. And again, the very next step would be just taking it off altogether. Gotta wait for me. All right. So, as your cues get better in the walk, you try them in the trot, and eventually in canter. Something else that you should be working on is your offside. So it's really helpful at Liberty to have your horse be as comfortable with you on their right side as they are with you on their left side. And that's going to be where the challenge comes in for a lot of people, because we're taught from a very young age to handle horses from the left side when you're leading them and when you're saddling them and when you're mounting, dismounting. And if you ask me, I could go on a little rant about this because it's not practical, it's traditional. But we don't wear swords on our bodies anymore, so why not handle your horse from both sides? And I mean, I do understand why we teach beginners this way, because if you introduce a horse to me that I've never seen before, I'm gonna lead them from the left side, because that's 99% of the time that's what they're trained to do. But if it's my horse, it's my Liberty horse, I'm gonna walk him from the pasture with me on the right side, just to get him comfortable with that, because you don't want to have control on the left side, and as soon as you reverse your horse, they leave. So I would, from the very beginning, I would do these exercises on both sides, or even work a little more on the right side, because that's going to be more difficult. It's going to feel awkward for you. And it's going to be a little awkward for your horse too. Yeah, he's a good boy. Thank you for participating. Being a pretty good example. Alright, so I think that's a good place to quit for today. We can go into a lot more of the details on this and where you can go from there. And please let me know what questions you have in the comments. There's a trailer coming down the driveway. And we'll keep building these basics so that we can have good Liberty horses and teach some fun stuff later down the road. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe so that you don't miss our next videos. And also, if you would leave in the comments not only your questions, but what you would like to see in future videos, and we'll make it happen.